It really is. So I've got an amazing guest for you today, Andy Stump. If you haven't heard of him, he has a show. It's called Cleared Hot. He's a member of SEAL Team 6, an American patriot and a hero. We're going to get into everything military, lethality, training, what's the problems with the military. We can talk Pete Hegseth and everything else. You're going to love this show, so stay tuned. Hey, the ultimate sleep refresh for the new year. Try Beam's Dream Powder. Get up to 45% off for a limited time at shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino at checkout. And also sponsoring today's show is... There we go. These guys are like, they're like hunting and pecking with the fingers here. You got to be sharper with the finger there. You guys heard about this new superfood? It's almost too good to be true. I use it every day. It's got thousands upon thousands of 5-star reviews, life-changing testimonials. Just read them. Don't take my word for it. Armra Colostrum. Arm like your arm, R-A, Armra Colostrum. It's one of the first nutrition products we receive in life. Contains essential nutrients our bodies need in order to thrive. Armra Colostrum is a proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum that harnesses over 400 living bioactive nutrients that can help strengthen the barriers of your body and help fuel cellular health for thousands of research-backed health benefits. It can help strengthen immunity, ignite your metabolism, fortify gut health, activate hair growth and skin radiance, power your fitness performance, and confer powerful anti-aging benefits. Look at me. I'm 50. We've worked out a special offer for my audience. Love this stuff. Get 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/Dan or enter Dan to get 15% off your first order. That's T-R-Y, try Armra, A-R-M-R-A, tryarmra.com/Dan. Check it out. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA, have not been diagnosed, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. These statements and information are not a substitute to or alternative to seeking care from your healthcare providers. All right, let's get right into the show. I want to welcome in America. Yeah, I forgot the bell there. Without the bell, I can't even get started. So we're looking for an amazing guest to discuss the military. Producer Michael said, you got to check this guy out. Andy Stump, member of SEAL Team 6, the host of Cleared Hot. Andy, welcome to the show. What an honor to have you on board. And most importantly, thank you for your service to this country. You're a patriot. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can live up to that intro. I'll do my best. I aim to set the bar low and then just stumble over the top of it.
Brother, you're a humble man, but you already have. I did some homework on you. I was beyond impressed. Michael has got a really good judge of talent here. So first, you served in the military. I did, and we were kind of chatting pre-show here. And I don't do a ton of interviews on the podcast. You're the first one in a while. I do some on the radio show. But what I don't know, I don't know. I think that's kind of one of the elements of being not just smart, but intelligence, knowing the perimeter of your own knowledge. I wasn't in the military. One of the problems, though, I could imagine being in the military, especially an elite unit like SEAL Team 6, is you need absolute unit cohesion. You can't have people going off half-cocked, independent, doing their own thing, or the entire thing, whether it's breaching a door, everything breaks apart. Everybody has a role. So when you get this wokeness component, forget the politics of it for a second. Just look at it from a pure tactical perspective. We're emphasizing division, skin color, race, things that have nothing to do with Andy Stump, SEAL Team 6 ability to breach a door and take out a bad guy. This is really dangerous. It has the potential to break up our military.
Yeah, you hit on something that I don't know if maybe the listener would pick up on, and that is the cohesion. And one of the things about the military, specifically the units that I served in, even the conventional SEAL teams, you make it through BUDS, which is a 6-month training pipeline. Everybody who wears a trident goes through that pipeline. It's a known origin. You get to a conventional SEAL team. You've been through multiple crucibles, selection courses. You've been tested and refined and trained, and your level of buy-in for the overall mission and the community and the command. And then you can take it to another level, an additional 6 months of screening at a JSOC command. And the cohesion is without question. You definitely have people who have different levels of belief, but it's all reverse engineered towards crossing the threshold of the door overseas. Everybody is bought in on the mission. Everybody is focused on their role, regardless of their personal beliefs, because it is a melting pot of society. And we're not this, carbon copy repeat of each other, but we put all of that aside so that you can be as lethal as humanly possible. I mean, at the JSOC level, you are at the sharpest edge of the pointiest spear. And the only thing that you need to be thinking about, especially if you want to survive the sometimes and often very dangerous things that the country asks of those units, is to be completely bought in on that mission. So anything subtracting from that lethality is a detriment to the people that are serving overseas, specifically in that role.
Andy, one of the things, too, that differentiates special operators, and you just emphasized it, is this is not your first rodeo. And I mean, that's underplaying the situation. You've already been through boot camp, which for all the branches isn't easy. I don't care what you're in. You can be a cook in the Navy at the White House mess. You've still been through boot camp. It's a pain in the ass. It's not easy. It's not like, your high school gym class. You get a guy, say, in Delta, another special operations team, who's been a Ranger. He's been through boot camp. He's been through Ranger school. You get guys who've had specific MOS schools before they're in SEAL Team 6. They may have been through, I don't know, some EOD training or something like that. These are all really complicated schools. You got Green Berets who've been through 2 or 3 schools beforehand. I mean, this is the kind of thing where you've now broken down all these barriers, and you've got, as you called it, the tip of the spear. Guys operating as one, almost operating as a symbiote. They can read each other. They can see each other. They just got to tap you on the shoulder, and one guy knows to go left and right, breaching that door. He goes the wrong way, he's dead. People are freaking dead. It's not like you go the wrong way. Oh, sorry, do-over. It's not Wayne's World, where they're playing a hockey game and they, oh, come on, start over. That's not the way this shit works. People die. And that's my problem with this wokeness crap. Obviously, the politics of it I hate, but the division component, like so much effort's gone into teaching you guys cohesion. It's just such a shame to see it all attacked with this silly nonsense stuff.
Wokeness is an ideology that survives in an academic environment. In my own personal experience overseas, combat and warfare, it doesn't care about your personal beliefs. It doesn't care about the color of your skin. It doesn't care about your gender, your age, any of those things. A bullet, I've never watched a bullet, not that you can really watch a bullet, but I've never seen a bullet or heard of a bullet carving around somebody because they were the DEI hire for that particular organization. It's a structure that falls apart in real life. And fortunately, in my experience, even though I have heard in communication with people that are still in, that there is this creep towards, you could call it DEI, you could call it woke. I would call it an attention suck outside of lethality. That does exist even in the special operations world, but it's such a small community that they can do a better job of kind of pushing it away and focusing on that lethality. And it's one of the things, though, that I hope will change with the oncoming administration. And I'm very interested to see how Pete Hegseth approaches this, because at least listening to what he has said, he wants to be rid of all of those things. And from somebody who operated in that environment, and my opinion only counts for myself, I think that's what the military needs. It's what are we required to do on the battlefield? And everything is targeted towards exactly that. We reverse engineer from that. And in my own personal experience, wokeness and DEI doesn't appear in that calculus.
Yeah. Andy hosts the Cleared Hot podcast. Be sure to check it out. You'll love it. Andy, on the nomination of Pete Hegseth for the critical position of defense secretary, one of the top 2 or 3 most important positions in the world. Forget about our government. I mean, we are the most powerful military in the known universe. That's not even in dispute. One of the things I found so objectionable about the attacks on Pete, again, I was not in the military. I spent a career in law enforcement, NYPD, and on the federal side. It's a hard job. It's nothing like the military. It's not even in the ballpark. But I just remember going over to Afghanistan and doing the site advance for Obama at Bagram. And, watching these guys living in these hooches, which is like sand on every, and the guys are like, you can't get this sand out of anything. And it's like, these guys they're going out and doing their runs, and they got sand in their lungs. They're spitting out like brown mucus all the time. I was out of there after 2 weeks, Andy. These guys are living there on 10-month, year deployments. And they come back and they're attacking Pete, suggesting sometimes he has an alcohol problem. No one I know has ever seen that. It's a fabricated issue completely. But Pete Hegseth's a guy who enjoys spending some time with people who understand what it's like to be in combat. I don't understand that. Andy, I have no idea what it's like to breach a door in Afghanistan with some mutt behind you pointing an AK-47. I have no freaking idea. I got to imagine when you come back, maybe headed to a bar responsibly with a few of your boys, talking about that experience is really the only thing you have. I mean, what are you going to do? Talk to some shrink about what the hell do they know? They haven't been there. And for them to attack him about this, that really pisses me off, because guys like you who need that outlet now are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, is someone going to put me on Twitter at a bar? Like, am I going to be able to get a job later? That's kind of bullshit.
I mean, let's just be honest. The world was better before social media,
Oh gosh,
um, and stuff like you could be yourself. And I mean, we're all human beings and we all make mistakes, but now mistakes can be captured on social media and the internet lives forever. The military, and again, I can only speak for the SEAL community, it's heavily steeped in a drinking culture. But having said that, it's also steeped in the responsible use of alcohol, at least from a doctrine level. And actually, now in the modern military, one of the fastest ways you can be ejected administratively is what's called an alcohol related incident. So it's an accepted portion of the culture, but they expect you to be a professional, both in your off time and the time where you're clocked in overseas. I don't know what it says about me. Probably that I'm an asshole, but I love the fact that Pete's potential nomination has people up in arms. I love that the people who are like, well, he's not a four-star general. Yeah, that's the point. Maybe you don't need to be a four-star general to hold that position. Maybe four-star generals and admirals, although there are some great ones out there, maybe at that level you have become a politician inside of the military system. And what we actually need is somebody who didn't get to that rarefied air and status or stratus and hasn't, who can come in and give it a fresh look. I mean, if an old four-star general or admiral can fuck it up, why can't we give a younger guy a chance and give him some time behind the wheel and see how it goes?
yeah. Andy, you definitely can't curse on this podcast, right, guys? We have a policy. I'm kidding, obviously. If you've listened to the show
bullshit.
yeah, that's yeah, fuck that. Yeah, Andy, leave that. This show definitely took a different turn a few years ago. We're way too pissed off at stuff. I have to calm down, especially interviewing like door kickers like you, because I'll get crazy. I get into it. Lethality. The military,
Yep.
one of the things I really kind of object to with the wussification of America and this toxic masculinity bullshit out there is that there's no realpolitik in it. This isn't the real world. It's a utopia that doesn't exist. Our military and guys like you exist to go kill bad guys. That is not cute. It's not a movie. It's not pretty. Nobody dies in the movie like, that's not the way this shit goes down. It's ugly. It's gross. There's guts. There's blood. And I just want to get your take on this. So I have two friends who were war fighters in combat zones. They were both very, very quiet about it. But one guy opened up to me one time, and he was a tow missile operator in Gulf War I, Marine. And he said, the Iraqis' tanks were too slow for us, so they would sometimes jump in like pickup trucks to try to get away. So he mentioned the story about hitting a pickup truck with a tow missile, which didn't end well. And he said, all I could think about afterwards, for these people to think like, oh, yeah, you go off and kill and you don't come back with scars. Like, that's bullshit. He said, all I could think about from that point on was, that guy had kids and his kids are never going to know what happened to him. He's just going to burn in the desert. And it was weird because this was obviously over a decade later. And he's sitting there with me in the training center and I could see he was a tough son of a bitch, Andy, too. This guy, he wasn't a recon Marine, but he was attached to a recon unit at one point. He was a badass guy. And just to watch him kind of, in front of me open up, this is what our military is, man. We've got to take care of these guys. And this wussification of America, we're not doing our military any favors by playing this shit down with a lot of cutesy DEI videos and bullshit like that. These guys are going to bring home a lot of scars mentally, too.
Yeah, the way I describe it is that if you touch war, it's going to touch you back. And a lot of the time, the narrative is around it more of like a broken toy. Like if you go to war and you come back, the damage is so great that you have to be broken. And I haven't actually found that to be the case. The things that the military is asked to do, specifically my old job, they are, I mean, if you were to just write it down on a piece of paper and have somebody read it out loud, the requirements that your job may entail, it's horrific. But you spend a career training, and again, working with people, being bought in on the mission statement, being bought in on the cause, being bought in for the country, and understanding of what your actions are doing and tying into the totality of the United States and what it stands for. But it shouldn't be romanticized. The way you described it is correct. If I look back at my old job, almost everything that we did was to lead up to the point of it's called three FEA: find, fix, finish, exploit, and analyze. It's kind of the targeting process, but it is all based around finding an individual or organization, fixing them in place, and then getting an element to cross the threshold of a door somewhere in another country to do something about an identified threat. And it shouldn't be romanticized. We should be able to have open and honest conversations about what we are asking certain segments of our population to do, and we shouldn't expect them to come back as the same person. But in my own personal experience, even though those things are horrific and they will weigh on you for the rest of your life, they can actually turn you into a better version of yourself. Like for me personally, I think I have a greater appreciation for what we have. I think I can love at a deeper level. I have a deeper appreciation for my friends because I've seen those things just be taken away in an instant. And I actually wish that more people didn't share the experiences that I have, but they could at least share in some of what of those experiences have given me from at least the view that I have of this country and the world.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I mentioned I had, I have more than two friends that have served, but the two that I was the closest with, the second guy had a similar perspective as you. He sent me an email. I was his instructor. He was a Marine as well and served overseas and never said a word in the training academy, one of the quietest guys I've ever seen. And he was a real leader, you could tell, but really a man of genuinely few words. He sent me an email years later, and his name's Jason. He's fine with me saying his first name. And I read the email on my Fox show, Andy, and people had sent me feedback for days saying they were crying that when I read the email. And he said kind of what you said, that he loves his daughter so much more because when you see things like what he called the pink mist, when a guy just blows up in front of you, steps on a device or an IED hits him or whatever, and he just blows up. He's like, that pink mist like never gets out of your head. And like you said, there's no question there's damage there, but people are all damaged and some use it for negative things. And he made the point that his relationship with his daughter was so much stronger precisely because he understood the horror that thankfully most people don't have to see, but you guys do.
Yeah, there's a difference between post-traumatic stress and post-traumatic growth. And sometimes it breaks people, and sometimes it unlocks a level that I, again, believe that allows you to become a better version of yourself. That takes time, though, and it takes a willingness to reach out for help when you need it. But I can tell you right now, from what I've heard, again, to tie it back into DEI or the wokeness ideology, not a single portion of that is going to help the warfighter at that level that is being asked to make those decisions. Yeah. That stuff, it's not helping them be a soldier. It's not helping them be more lethal. And it's certainly not helping them deal with any of the long-term consequences that can come from the occupation.
A perfect segue, because I want to get into training and what you guys do and how important that is next and getting over that fog of war. Quick break. We'll be right back with Andy Stump. The podcast is called Cleared Hot. Member of SEAL Team 6. Check out the podcast. Good man, patriot, hero. Hey, let me tell you, I've had my Helix mattress for several years now. It's actually my second one. I won't sleep on anything else. I have really bad arthritis. As you know, I'm always whining about it. If it wasn't for the Helix mattress, I'd wake up in a lot worse shape. Gives me the energy to get through the day. You got to sleep well, folks. Just look at the damage bad sleep does to your body. Helix is the award-winning mattress brand recommended by many for improving sleep. I've been sleeping better with my Helix mattress. I have a Midnight Lux. It's improved my everyday life. I feel less aches and pains. I'm a side sleeper, and it's been a game changer for me. I bet it'll be for you too. They have a mattress for every type of sleeper. You sleep on your back, you sleep on your side, your big, tall, your kids' mattresses, they have them all. Helix mattresses helps you choose a firmness or a height that fits you. You want to know which Helix mattress is right for you? Take the innovative sleep quiz to find your match. And right now, get 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders when you order at helixsleep.com/Dan. That's HELIX, helixsleep.com/Dan for 20% off. helixsleep.com/Dan for 20% off and 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. Thank you, Helix. And they just picked up Avita's show, too, so we really appreciate that. Thank you, Helix. Let's get back to Andy now. Andy, training. I mean, obviously, speaking to a SEAL Team 6 member, you obviously know the importance of training. But one of the things, at least, and again, I don't pretend to know half the things you know about tactics or anything like that, but when you're in the Secret Service, you have to function as this cohesive unit, too. We have a shift that has a specific defined number of members. Every member has a role. If you're the number one, you do this and you do only this. Because if you do that, the other guy's doing that and you're in his line of fire. Your field of vision is here. That's what you cover. You don't cover this, guys. You don't go out on an adventure because you wind up shooting a good guy. So we are the importance of training. But one of the things I think that the public doesn't understand is you guys have to train so much because there's always a fog of war. Even the baddest ass guys in the world, Green Berets, SEAL Team 6, Delta, if you're there, that first contact, there's always that it takes a few seconds to kind of get your, to not kind of red line. I don't know the best way to say it. But I think the difference between you guys with all the training and everyone else is everyone has the fog of war. Just the amount of time before you guys get back into action due to all that training is so much shorter than anyone else. But it never goes away, right? Like there's always that first contact.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the benefits that especially the soft community, and then it can get even more refined as you dive in and you screen for the JSOC commands. The soft community, regardless of the military branch, is so much smaller than the greater military branch. So in the Army, let's say it was Rangers or Green Berets, you have per person in those units so much more money to train, and they focus on hyper realistic training. I mean, it's so much more than going to range and shooting an E-type silhouette with no reaction whatsoever. I mean, you can elevate it to force on force training. And we used to do this in a desert environment, and it was essentially high-speed laser tag that would shut down your weapon's ability to, shoot a laser out if you were contacted, and people could coordinate in real time and put people down for down man drills or introduce medical situations. And then, in an urban or internal environment, we're shooting at each other with wax bullets that hurt and elicit a normal pain response. And inside of that, we're using role players and simulated explosions and daytime and nighttime and assets. And what you're trying to do, because it's a smaller unit and our budget writ large is so much larger than, say, what an aircraft carrier can do, because we could get a budget probably not that big, but the SEAL community could probably get an aircraft carrier's budget, but we're only talking about 2,000 people versus a massive infrastructure with 5,000 people and all the things associated with that. So it becomes this hyper realistic training that I believe it does a very good job of preparing you to get overseas. But at the back of your mind, you always know that in a training environment, yes, of course, there's a risk to life because you could fall out of a helicopter could crash, there could be an accident. But you can't really replicate the real two-way range where somebody is shooting lead or rockets back at you, or a real IED that you might step on. And again, I can only speak for myself. The first time I was ever shot at for real, I didn't even realize it because we were sitting in a helicopter and I was covered in chem bio gear. We were hitting the number one target, chem bio target in Iraq at the kickoff. The first objective, we flew like 4 hours in to hit what ended up becoming an agricultural school, dressed up as if we were going to go into sarin gas. And we were getting shot at a minute before we landed, and I couldn't see a goddamn thing. I didn't even know about it until after we got back and we looked at the helicopter and like, there's like 28 holes in this thing. But, so it progressed beyond that. I never lost that sense of fear. The fear is always there. But what helps is that hyper realistic training. And what helps even more than that is your bond with the people to your left and right. You might be scared shitless, but if you see somebody to your left or right that you deeply care about, that you came through the same pipeline, that you've worked with for years, and they're doing something or they're in a vulnerable position, you're going to take action to help them or to try to get them out of that vulnerable position or to support them. But it's an interesting mental geometry. You know that threat is there and you work your way through it. But the key to that, I think, for most people is that hyper realistic training. It really does help.
Yeah. Did you guys, I assume you guys use sims, but when we used to use the sims, you ever use them in the winter when they feel like actual bullets in the fucking winter? And then everybody shoots your hand because that's what they see, the gun. So they shoot you in the fucking hands and your fingers are like green and purple. Those sons of bitches hurt. Now, granted, yes, it's not like getting hit with a 5.56 round at supersonic speed.
It's not far off.
But that shit freaking hurts. You're like, damn it. Every time. Yep. How the fuck you hit my hand every single time? Those things suck, man.
So I don't want to give anybody ideas, but hypothetically, if you were to put your sim rounds in the freezer overnight, it could always be like winter. Right? Yeah. The hands hurt so bad. I tell you what hurts worse is the back of the calf. It drops people like a sniper shot to the chest.
Really? Dude, the freaking fingers. Everybody sees the gun. So that's what they shoot at, and they magically, it's like the most amazing act of marksmanship ever. How did you hit my hand 6 times out of 7 rounds? Like, it's crazy. Your fingers the next day, you'd be like, you can't even do push-ups in the academy because your fingers don't even bend. It's horrible. But when I was over teaching over there, Andy, we had Matt Eversman. He was the sergeant in the Black Hawk Down operation, and he was doing kind of an autopsy of what happened with a lot of our trainees to give you a kind of lessons learned. He'd come back every other year or so, and it was really a fascinating lecture. And he was talking about the Delta guys. You know, he was a Ranger, and he was talking about the Delta guys and just how impressive they were, and just how they had almost no emotion about combat at all. And you know, SEAL Team 6 and Delta is always like, who's better? Who's right? They're both badasses. It doesn't, you know, better word means nothing to me with that. But because I couldn't do either, so it makes no difference. But one of the things he emphasized in that kind of autopsy in front of our students was the difference between our military and everyone else, outside of the bravery and the courage and the things we do, is just pure marksmanship. He said these Somalis would come out, empty an entire AK mag, and not hit one freaking person. He said you'd see these Delta guys behind cover, you know, on a 3-round burst or whatever, bang, 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 not wasting a single round, knocking off 9, 10 guys at a time. Like these guys, the marksmanship component is he, at least according to him, was one of the prime differentiators between us and everyone else.
Yeah, and that goes back to the training. I mean, the shooting standards, even at a conventional team, I mean, there's an E-type silhouette, but then there's an A-zone inside of the E-type silhouette, which is going to be much tighter where the vitals are generally going to be. And up on the head, yeah, there's the space to the head that you can shoot at, but again, there's that A-zone in there as well. And, you know, as somebody who served on the Navy side of JSOC, I've heard it so many times, right? The comparison between Delta and SEALs. And, you know, I am not one to say anything other than I have the utmost respect for that organization. I actually was able to train and deploy with them one time, and I still have very close friends that were associated with that command, and they're amazing. And I think what would shock people is it's not really like the movies. The speed that we move on target isn't incredibly fast. It's calculated. It's like 3D real-time chess. There's not a lot of yelling. You're not, I mean, if I had to choose between, to go to your example of a Somali shooting at me, if I have to have somebody shooting at me, I'm going to request that they're on full auto, because you're not going to hit anything. Your most accurate round is going to be your first one, unless we're like 5 feet away from each other. But what you'll notice is professionals, I had, you know, our weapons in the military, I had safe, single round, and fully automatic. I never once flipped it to fully automatic, because I have to carry the ammunition that I'm in the field with. And I'll let somebody dump an entire mag at me and take my time and get a stable shooting position, hopefully behind cover, and take one shot, because that's what a professional does. And I wish people could see how surgical and precise these tip of the spear special operations forces are. They would be so underwhelmed at the speed. They would be shocked at the lack of communication. It's almost all done off of body language, because these people, all they do is practice this. They are absolute surgeons and specialists in the conduct of warfare.
So what I'm getting from you is a line I've heard often from friends of mine and former colleagues who were military special operations. Obviously, in my prior line of work, we sucked a lot of special operations people out just because of their massive body of experience. I used to hear this all the time. They say, fast isn't fast, brother. Smooth is fast. Matter of fact, fast is almost slow, because you're going to have to do it multiple times to get to the end game. That smooth is fast. I'm going to take my last break, Andy. On the other side of the break, I want to ask you about, you know, leadership. I've had quite a few special operators on, and the whole idea in society about leadership that's just collapsed. I just don't think we have a lot of leaders out there anymore, and there's such a thirst for it. Maybe there's a political component to that. Maybe there's not. I don't know, but we're really thirsty for leaders. It's time to be awake, not woke. I got me some Blackout coffee today, because this is the coffee. Can I make up a new motto for Blackout coffee? The coffee that kicks ass and takes names. John, put that Bongino's coffee. Kicking ass and taking names. They're like, well, you guys going to read this? But no, I'm not going to read the spot. I don't need to read the spot, because I love Blackout coffee. Now, I do got a badass Navy SEAL on, but don't turn your man card in when you drink the cinnamon French toast coffee from Blackout. I don't give a shit. It's freaking good. So is the blueberry crumble and the the dark chocolate. The espresso is amazing. All their coffee is good. Why? Because they use premium beans. Listen, the owner loves America. He's a great guy, but he loves good coffee too. And loving America, you better love a good product. So pick it up. If you're part of the Bongino Army, Blackout coffee is the only coffee for you. There is no other coffee. Forget it. The folks at Blackout Coffee ship within 48 hours of roasting. It's incredible. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. See what I'm talking about. They're the real deal. Stop drinking that brown water crap coffee. Drink a bold coffee, never bitter. It's blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. Join the Bongino army. We'd love to have you. Last sponsor today, and we'll get back to this amazing guest. This may be the most amazing interview we've ever done. No, it's not pretty solid. This is freaking amazing. Pretty solid. Don't understate this interview. I may have to play this thing over and over again. This may be the greatest thing we've ever done. I don't have to do anything. What? Omaha Steaks. Here we go. These guys with the freaking spots. He's like, you know what? It's also amazing. The burgers from Omaha Steaks. I know you stole them from my freezer. Omaha Steaks, the perfect gift to deliver comfort and joy to the ones you love with curated gift packages. Omaha Steaks delivers unrivaled quality and taste consistently. Hand-selected by master butchers from the finest grain-finished beef, extra aged, flash frozen at peak flavor, delivered right to you. And now you can deliver the perfect gift with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino at checkout. Minimum purchase and restrictions may apply. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to shop with expertly crafted gift packages. Every steak's perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef, more marbling for exceptional flavor. It's a choice of steakhouses and pros around the world. The fan-favorite filet mignons earned the coveted distinction of USDA-certified tender. Give the gift of comfort and joy with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide on unforgettable gifts and more. And for an extra $30 off, use promo code Bongino at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com, OMAHA, and an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino at checkout. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it, Omaha Steaks. Back to Andy Stump, the host of Cleared Hot, the podcast, member of SEAL Team 6, American Patriot. Andy, you know, your thoughts on leadership. Now, the reason I always ask guys in the military about this is because unlike most professions, maybe outside of policing, maybe the only kind of similar, not the same, but similar one, when you guys screw up the leadership component, people die, like not, you know, like literally die, not figuratively die. And they're people close to you. They're not people you don't know. They don't die at a distance. You know, you got a guy next to you because you screwed up a breaching decision or whatever it may be, you know, you go down some fatal funnel. You know, that's the end. So I've asked a ton of people this about leadership. And, you know, I mean, the best thing I can say to people is it's, you know, the biggest component, I think, and your thoughts on this are you have to know when to, you know, kind of be like a shoulder for a guy. I don't mean like getting all wussy and, you know, but sometimes dudes are really like broken down, but you also got to know when not to be a shoulder and be like, hey man, shut the fuck up. Like you're whining about bullshit. We got a mission to accomplish. And I think that's where poor leaders, they don't understand the fine line between the two. They're too much of a shoulder to cry on when they shouldn't be, or once in a blue moon, you know, they don't know when to tell someone to shut the fuck up, you know?
Yeah, you know, given my military background, I was fortunate or unfortunate, depending, I guess, on how people view it, to be around amazing and explosive and powerful ordnance. But I truly think the most impactful and probably what would be the best description of it? The most lethal tool that human beings actually have access to is leadership. And there's not a one size fits all model. Leadership is very difficult. And to go with what you were saying about when you need to be more of a supporter versus you need to be a little bit more directive, that comes from it's a combination of IQ and EQ. And you have to, each person is different. What I will say is this: in the military, leadership is actually easier because of what we talked about when we first got on. It's the selection and the refinement and the training. I mean, 80% of people who attempt to become a SEAL, they don't make it. And then another 40% of those people who attempt to go to a JSOC level aren't going to make it either. So the person on the far end of that has such an amazing level of buy-in that you can lead in almost any way that you want to. You can be very directive. And let's also not forget they're contractually obligated to be there. So if they don't like you as a leader, they can't really go anywhere because they got to serve out their commitment. Civilian leadership is so much more difficult because people are, you know, I own a coffee shop as an example. The average age of the employee that we have is 17 to 19 years old, and they're there for a variety of reasons, and they're not going to make it a vocation, and they're going to come and go. It might be seasonal, or they might have a relationship. If I treat them like I did the people that I worked with in the military, I would have 0 employees. So it takes more nuance. It takes more time. It takes more EQ to understand what motivates people and what drives people. But leadership is the most powerful tool that human beings have access to. It trumps the power of anything that I have seen overseas. In some way, somehow, especially in the civilian world, we've lost this emphasis on being a leader. And people, the mistake I think people make is when they hear, Well, leadership, they're looking to somebody else. Leadership is about how you view yourself. Don't look to somebody else to be your leader. I mean, fuck, look in the mirror and start leading yourself and your family at a local level.
Yeah. Andy, one of the things about leadership I found is amazing leaders. And you just said you see them. They have the je ne sais quoi. Like, you know it, but you can't describe it. I mean, if we could, we wouldn't be doing this segment. I'm asking you what it is. You and I said two similar things, but in completely different words. But one of the things is you know it when you see it. And I don't know, you may disagree on this one, but I found it, I spent 2 years as an instructor in our academy, and I guess we flushed about 200, 250 agents through. And I noticed good leaders can't make a bad guy a good guy. They just can't. I mean, we've tried and we've tried, but they can make a good guy a great guy. Like if you get a guy in there with a good, decent set of principles who maybe isn't familiar with any military or paramilitary organization, they find a good leader, you can make that guy a superb agent. But we had a couple of guys, they were just, I don't know if you guys call them like, what, blue falcons and shitbirds? That's what we used to call them. Like, they were just shitheads. And they were just like, we would have to hide them. Yeah. Like they met the minimum requirements for training. But when they got out, you'd have to stick them in a unit where they just can't hurt anyone, because you just can't make a bad guy a good guy, but you can make a good guy a great guy.
Every team, regardless. I mean, if you have 10 of the most highly refined, selected operators, the best military operators on planet Earth, they're still a bottom 10%, right? And in that cohort, they're a turd. So the dude at the top of that is the most amazing operator ever. And they're looking down the line like, you fucking suck.
Right.
Now, to everybody else, that would be the top performer in any sector everywhere. So, and I totally agree with you. Great leaders, I mean, they can enhance everybody. So you can polish the turd a little bit, but guess what? It's still a turd in the bowl at the end of the day. But you can actually, and I wish people want, equality of outcome is not something I agree with. Equality of opportunity, I definitely agree with. And the difference in those two things is people's ability to perform. And let's just be honest, we're not all created equal. Some people are smart and some people are idiots. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And nothing is going to make the idiot a smart person, but a great leader can take that smart person and maybe turn them into a genius or unlock for that person their genius capability. Leadership is a great tool. But as human beings, we all have glass ceilings. And when you hit that, as much as it may suck, I'm sorry, that might be your station in life.
Andy, having gone through SEAL training, there is a local young man, my daughter's friends with his sister. He's a SEAL team member, not 6. Obviously, leave his name out of it. He's still, he just got on a little bit ago. But I always ask him for advice about firearms and things like that. He's just a really wonderful young man, really talented, super smart, loyal. So I asked him about buds and SEAL training. And he said, Dan, everybody there's in shape. Obviously, no one goes to SEAL training not in shape. He's like, the physical stuff sucks, but it's totally bearable if you're in good shape like these guys are. He said, it's a mind fuck. He said, you know what the worst part about SEAL training was? I'm waiting for him to say the rucks, the push-ups, he's like, the fucking sand. He's like, you have sand everywhere all the time. Your skin isn't even red. It's non-existent. He's like, you have it in your balls, in your crack, in your toes, behind your ears. He's like, I couldn't take it anymore. He said, it'll drive you crazy. I couldn't believe that is what he remembered, because that's one thing that drives guys bananas.
So to even get to buds on your first day, you've volunteered multiple times and you've taken physical screening tests that if you pass them, you possess the physical ability to graduate. People don't quit because of the muscles above the neck. They quit because they get fatigued. Actually, I need to flip that. The muscles below the neck, right? The combat chassis, if you will, it can tolerate so much. They quit because they get tired of the grind. And I describe buds as sandpaper. If I told anybody to get a piece of sandpaper and on your first day, you're going to take it across your knuckles with a good amount of pressure, people can do that. And they might do it the second day and the third day, but 2 months in, when your knuckles are red and raw and there's pus seeping out of it, and I keep telling you to take this same piece of sandpaper across your knuckles, that's where you start separating the wheat from the chaff. And it's not that your body can't physically take it. You talk yourself out of it. So there is a huge physical component to being at buds. But when I went back as an instructor there for 18 months and actually talked to the students about why they quit, almost nobody expressed anything physical. They expressed that they got overwhelmed with the totality of their goal and how far they were from where they wanted to be to their current station in life. They were 120 days from graduation, 130. And they said to themselves, there's no way I can keep doing this for that long. And they quit.
Yeah.
It was more mental than physical, almost every single time.
Andy, one other thing. I want to get to drones next and the drone threat, whether in combat, domestically, protection, all of that. However, one other thing he did mention, and I only laugh about this because I have a running kind of segment on my radio show. It's a joke. I got a cold plunge about a year ago, and it's like torture. I mean, sitting in this thing for 4 minutes at 45 degrees. And I just think back to when I first started. He mentioned the sand thing, but he said, Dan, you have no idea what it's like to sit in like 50-degree water for like a half an hour at a clip. He's like, he's like, the pain, there's no going numb. Like it never feel, oh, look, I'm numb now. Like that's not a thing. Like you're just freaking freezing. And he's like, that is one of the other big mind fucks in training. He said, you're freezing cold all the time. And in your brain, you know you're not going to be warm anytime soon. Like there's no like, oh, good, we get to go over to the heaters and roast marshmallows. Like that's not happening.
Yeah, there's no heater. And it's almost as if the instructors know this because we all went through training. So there is an instructor. Like my main tool to get people to quit is I would sit there and I would talk to them about how long I was going to keep them in that water.
Oh.
How long do you think you can tolerate this? Oh, you think this is going to be 30 minutes? Maybe today we're doing 2 hours. You don't know. And maybe hypothetically, I would set up a picnic table with steaming hot chocolate on there and say, hey, if you want to end this right now and get one of these, come on up. All you need to do is say, I quit, you know?
You're right. It's like it's like a run. They used to have these things like the Indian run. Like if you're running at someone else's pace, it's always harder. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a pace you can totally handle, because in your brain, you're like, is he going to speed up? Is he going to slow down? I totally get that. Let me ask you about drones. Now, in the protection space I was in, I wrote a book a long time ago about this. And one of the chapters was about the drone threat. And the reason the drone threat right now is I think unique, and I hate that word, is for 2 reasons. Number one, it's low tech. I mean, we have a JSF and an F-22 that other countries don't have. But if it can be taken down by a swarm of $100 Amazon drones, it's kind of freaking worthless. That's number one. It doesn't require a lot of money and almost no skill. I mean, to train an F-22 pilot takes forever. But second, Andy, it's obvious, from a tactical perspective, humans can't fly. So if they tell SEAL Team 6, hey, there's a guy in the ghillie suit, there's a way to mitigate that. You can hit that target, flank it. You can take out it with a counter sniper, but you can actually walk over there if you needed to and inspect the target. Not that you'd walk in front of a gun. You can't do that with a drone. So if you're on the White House lawn, there's a drone threat. You can't just go, oh, hold on, let me go check it out. We can't fly. This freaks me out, this drone threat, not only for combat operations with guys like yourself overseas who've done it, but also for domestic too. I mean, Times Square, you get a swarm of drones dropping grenades on New Year's Eve, you got hundreds of casualties.
Yeah, it's, there's pros and cons to the internet. One of the wild things is you can see things that are going on all over the world. And, sometimes in my feed, these drones from Ukraine show up, and what they are doing over there and the velocity that warfare is shifting is unbelievable. I mean, they're chasing people down and exploding them into pieces with drones. I mean, these drone operators, I have no idea how far away they are, but that is not a threat that I had to face when I was in, and I'm really thankful that I didn't have to. So it is changing. I do believe that the U.S. military is aware of this and that they are changing as well. A lot of people are talking about what's going on in New Jersey, and let me be clear: I want it to be aliens. God, I think it'd be awesome if we weren't alone.
Right.
Ready? Like, come on down, guys. Let's have a beer, right? If you wanted to nuke us, you could have done it already. So I want it to be aliens, but I don't think it is. And the best example of why I don't think it is I can point people towards Operation Neptune Spear, which I was not involved with, but that was the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. And a lot of people made a big deal about that. But to me, from somebody who was peripherally familiar with one of the programs involved with that, and almost nobody focused on it, was the actual helicopters that were used to get there. And we left one of the helicopters in the courtyard because it crash landed. The technology being used with those helicopters, I never rode on those things. I don't even think I actually saw them in person. But again, I was peripherally aware that program existed. They had to create those things, test them only at nighttime. They had a reduced signature with both radar and sound. And my point in that is there are a lot of things that are government, specifically military, that they are developing that they're not going to tell anybody about until they have to, or until it meets, the front page news criteria, which I was shocked. People can go onto Google. Like, I'll talk about the program broadly because people can go onto Google and see pictures of that helicopter in the courtyard in Abbottabad. That to me was the biggest surprise that came out of that operation. Talking to the guys that were there that night, they're like, yeah, man, it was just another Tuesday, a totally average target. That asset sitting there that I guarantee you was exploited by foreign adversaries within 24 hours was shocking to me. So I know that those programs exist. How that ties into the drone stuff and why they're in New Jersey, I'm not so sure. And even though, as much as I wanted to be the little green men, I'm reminded that there are areas out there in our government or in contractors working with our government where they're really pushing the front leading edge of what is possible. And the government's not going to tell us until either one of those things gets shot down or they're forced to.
Yeah, I say a lot of my show, the government has a really tough time keeping secrets, and they do. But I will say this: when I was about on the job for about 10 years or so, I was briefed into a program, and I was pretty stunned myself. They put us on a helo and on a kind of an op around DC, and pointed out some stuff, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that's what that was like. It was really kind of shocking to me too. So you're right. Yeah. I mean, we don't know everything. We don't know what that is. And you're also right about the green men. Like, if they have the technology to get here and they wanted to kill us, they probably would have done it already. So, yeah, sit down, have a Heineken, enjoy yourself. Andy, last question for you. I want to make sure I get a plug in for your podcast at the end, too, Cleared Hot. Having gone through BUDS, which is, inarguably one of the toughest things any human being on planet Earth can do. Physically, the cold, the sand, the grind, the lack of sleep, the hunger, just all the horrors of being human in your hierarchy of needs in one training session. I just want to get across to the audience and kind of a motivational closing here that you're capable of so much more than you think. I mean, I have not done anything close to BUDS, but you are. You think you have this ceiling, like I can only do 10 reps. I promise you can do 12. You just haven't experienced that pain yet, and you'll get used to it eventually, and you'll recondition your nervous system. Like, your ceiling, I promise you, isn't your ceiling. You can do better. And it's something like BUDS, where a guy like you is the perfect guy to talk about that, because you've done what 99.99 repeating decimal of society just can't get through. But your ceiling is higher than you think.
I did not want to go to BUDS as an instructor. I was injured on a target actually with the Delta guys. We were doing a cross-training deployment. I got injured in Iraq. And the command I was at basically said, we're moving at a velocity that we don't need somebody who can't walk right now. So I got sent to BUDS, and I didn't want to be there because I was loving my old job. And after being there for 18 months, it was the single most rewarding tour of my career because I got to make sense of the curriculum that I was put through. And you've mentioned some of the tools that I had access to as an instructor. Water, sand, of course, in combination, obstacle course, running, physical conditioning, sleep deprivation. We couldn't really mess with their food. That was actually one of the things we really had no control over. We could mess with when they got it, but not how much they got. And none of those tools are even remotely comparable in their effectiveness than the human mind. When I understood and when I sat down with these students and talked with them about why they quit, and it was this resounding narrative of I became overwhelmed. I let my optic of time become so wide that I was only thinking big picture instead of staying in the small picture. I stopped using all of those other tools. I would let the instructors do that. And I weaponized people's mind against themselves. And all of those tools, those are all external. The most powerful one is the internal tool that you have. And you get to determine where your ceiling is. Yes, physically painful things hurt, but does it hurt enough that you need to quit? Nobody can answer that for you. But people limit and self-govern themselves so far before they get to the point of what they're capable of. It's a fascinating case study.
Yeah, it is. I've told people that over and over again. They, again, not even close to comparable, but they say, like, gosh, why did you left the Secret Service to go run for office? Like, that's crazy. I'm like, I like doing crazy things. I just like taking chances because, I don't believe in luck. I believe in taking 1,000 chances. And if 2 of those chances work out and you only took 2, you're 0 for 0. If I took 1,000 and 2 of them work out, it was just a law of probability, brother. Like, eventually something was going to hit, It's simple probability. Andy, what an amazing interview. We don't do this often, but I may have to now that you set the bar So hi, we got a new studio opening up soon. I hope you'll join us for a follow-up to this. This was really amazing. Your podcast is called Cleared Hot. Andy Stump, look him up. Bongino Army, do me a favor. Go out, support this man. Download his podcast. Give him a follow on these platforms. We need more patriots like this to hear from him. Andy, God bless you, brother. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for inviting me. And you guys know how to get a hold of me. I'll join you anytime.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Man, I thought would blow your mind. So Michael comes to me and he says, Dan, you have got to check this guy out from the Cleared Hot podcast, Andy Stump, SEAL Team 6, just an amazing guy. You may have seen him on Rogan and elsewhere. Folks, we just did this interview. And I'm going to tell you, I came in with high expectations. Michael could not have done better picking this guy. Justin, how freaking amazing was that interview? I mean, this guy's take on everything from drones to leadership to the real issue with wokeism in the military, the division, not just the political stuff. Please check it out tomorrow at the regular time. It'll be a regular show at 11 a.m. We'll throw some stuff in there in the beginning too. It'll be a regular show, but please don't miss it. I promise you, you're going to absolutely love this. Okay. Couple things. Obviously, the Fani Willis thing just happened. That's the good news. The other piece of good news is Donald Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, and others shut down this absolute shit sandwich of a CR last night, this continuing resolution. Folks, I'm sorry. We are not falling for this again. That's the title of today's show. I'm done with it. I'm tired of it. I'll address it today at the end of my radio show, so you leave with it. Folks in the chat, tell me if I'm crazy here. I need your feedback on this. This is important. I am a realpolitik guy. Don't mistake my passion for topics and my emotion, I don't want to sound ridiculous, for a lack of pragmatism. I understand there is a math business up on Capitol Hill where you need certain votes. What I don't understand is we currently have a majority in the House of Representatives, meaning the Democrats have to come to us. That's what a majority is. Why would we shove a shit sandwich bill down America's throat that does nothing to cut spending? I mean, unbelievably, finances a censorship operation out of the State Department, gives Congress a pay raise, deals with like the transfer of a football stadium. You're telling us this is such a pressing thing. And then you're freaking us all. Oh my gosh, the government's going to close that. It's not our freaking fault. You guys had a year to work on this thing and are now stuck in a shit sandwich at the end. We paid you to get, conservative spending bills across and you didn't do anything. I don't want my point to get lost here. The point is this. If you had at least a little bit of success over the past 30 years, Republicans in Congress saying, hey, we're not going to fight this fight now, but we'll fight it next time, we would say, okay, maybe we agree to this bullshit. I wouldn't, but maybe we'll agree to it until March. Then when Trump gets in, we'll go back and we'll cut some spending. The problem everybody has is you guys just keep telling us this, and you never actually do anything, ever. The most unforgivable piece of this spending bill that should have never, ever been agreed to was this Global Engagement Center thing from the State Department. You understand if you've been screwed over by a bullshit fact check, you were kicked off Twitter before Elon, or any of this other stuff, do you understand that was largely due to operations like the Global Engagement Center at the State Department? Why the hell would Republicans in Congress agree to fund this thing? Oh, look, we have the answer. Gabe Kaminsky, who's a pretty good reporter. This is a really long tweet. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But a lot of people are pissed off at the speaker for this. This isn't the kind of thing that slips through the cracks. Get used to it, Mr. Speaker and others. Twitter, the second this bill goes public, there are algorithms designed to pick this stuff out. Everybody knows what's in it. There's no hiding anymore. According to a congressional source familiar with the matter, the Global Engagement Center provision was a private demand from Senate Democrats in exchange for another provision Republicans want. So just to be clear, who thought this was a good idea? We're going to allow a State Department operation to be funded to censor conservatives because we wanted some tax cut? I love tax cuts. The Corporate Transparency Act is a disaster. I get it. but we're trading away people's civil liberties. We're not doing that. 2 points here. Number one, we as conservatives do not negotiate away civil liberties like free speech. I'm sorry. I don't know what you were thinking. We're paying you guys an exorbitant amount of money. You're getting your ass kissed by lobbyists all day to go and battle for civil liberties and the Constitution, not give them up. And second, throw that up again at the end, please. That they had a private demand for a deal. In other words, let us censor people through the State Department. Let us censor people through the State Department, and we'll give you this Corporate Transparency Act provision thing. The Democrats don't stick to deals anyway. Here, you need some evidence? Here are the receipts. The Democrats always give you the middle finger on deals. You read this Wall Street Journal article? So there was another deal, too, about judges retiring. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but read this piece if you want to get pissed off. It's called Judges Unretire After Trump Wins. So it turns out Republicans cut a deal with Democrats. It said, these liberal judges are going to retire. We will give you these Biden judicial nominees, but those judges are going to retire. So it was basically a zero sum. Well, look what happened. The Senate Republicans got played. They said okay to the Biden nominees, and all of a sudden the judges unretired. So to the Democrats and their bullshit deal for our First Amendment. And no, I'm not riling up the audience. I'm telling the audience the truth. And as I said to people, I earned this microphone, and the Bongino army earned their place out there too. And we're tired of this bullshit. You got to shut the government down until Trump gets in there, then shut it down. Even Newt Gingrich, who's not known as some big flamethrower, right? Even Newt Gingrich this morning, I retweeted it, said, listen, this is time for shock treatment. If the government's got to shut down to make this point that we're going bankrupt, then the government's got to shut down. Here's a quick minute or less from Vivek, who's co-head of the DOJ, Department of Government Efficiency with Elon. They shut this thing down yesterday. Here's Vivek on this abomination of a CR and all the crap in there. Check this out.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you. It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading DOJ is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
I'm just reading the chat. You guys all agree with me. LilyBit99, shut it down. Our government is broken. Shut it down. WX Princess, shut it down. Yes, shut it down. Folks, it's time for shock and awe. I'm sorry. We are going bankrupt. We are spending a ridiculous, obscene amount of money on a bunch of bullshit programs that don't work. And I can't say this enough. If Speaker Johnson and the leadership, this is not personal, by the way. Stop with the nonsense. I am a transactional spreadsheet guy. If you had any history of plus ones on this stuff and big victories on top line spending, we'd be like, okay, maybe we'll give you a pass. You just don't. There is a credibility factor here I'm going to get to in a second. Nobody believes the government anymore. Nobody. About anything. About drones, about freaking UFOs, about the border, about inflation. Expertise is dead. Please don't do this to the party in this amazing transition period where I opened up the show with good news. All this good stuff is happening. Please don't ruin it. This is kind of funny, though. I got to open heavy stuff in the beginning of the show. You know my cannibalism theory? The lefties will always eat themselves alive. Folks, we have them up against the wall right now, the left, not the other way around. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I said, listen, we won. We need to start acting like it. We won. We may not win in the midterms. We may not win in the next presidential election, but we won now. I only live in the present. I don't live in the freaking future. I only live in the now. We won. Freaking act like it. This is hilarious. Watch CNN and liberal Senator Dick Durbin, I mean, one of the most liberal senators you're ever going to find. There is a congressional pay raise built into this, which there's no time for that right now. We can talk about that later. It should not have been put in there at all. It's a terrible messaging tool. Watch CNN confront Durbin on the pay raise, and then the liberal Durbin firing back at CNN like, hey, you guys get a raise and you suck too. This is liberal on liberal political violence here. Folks, I told you, cannibalism theory. Just give it time. They'll eat themselves alive. Watch this.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
We're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
You love to see it, man. You love to see it. I told you the cannibalism theory is real. You think I just make these theories up because I'm bored on the weekend? Like, let me throw out some theories. Like I'm sitting around at like playing at the blackjack table. I'm like, how many political theories? All you got to do is be an observer of this. Eventually, they start eating themselves alive because they're totally unprincipled. Our fights are on principle and stuff. Their fights are all about bullshit. They don't know what to do anymore. They are lost. We are in charge. We are the media now, folks. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and a bunch of conservative members of Congress, make no mistake, shut this thing down. This is a warning to members of Congress, and it is done with a pure heart. Not trying to be an asshole, not trying to abuse the privilege of this microphone. I'm trying to do you a favor. You can listen to me and get out of your bubble, or you can continue to get shit rolled. I don't know what to tell you. The Twitter ecosystem now on X, between X and Truth Social, is the most powerful mechanism in politics. There are people out there who, the second these things drop, what they do is they go out, they put algorithms on these things, word finders, and within seconds, all of the shit sandwiches in these bills are out there. You can adjust to that, or you can get run over by the train. I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to help you. You're not going to be able to squeeze this stuff through anymore. You are the majority. I know we don't have the Senate. I know we don't have the presidency at this point, but we do in just a month. Listen, when me and Newt Gingrich, well, I wouldn't call him an establishment guy, but he's definitely not some MAGA flame-throwing guy, agree on the exact same thing, then it's time to move. It's time for some shock treatment, man. Everybody in the chat agrees. I mean, folks, we may blow the chat up again on this, but that's okay. It's like every time we blow it up, we learn new things, which is fantastic. Yes, shut it down, or no, sign this bill, eat the shit sandwich, and deal with it because we'll get them next time. Fire away. Fire away. Let me see it. Put it up on the screen. Fire away. Because I'm telling you, I'm of the opinion, if this is the best we're going to get, shut it down because we're never going to fix anything because nobody's serious. And if they're not willing to take the syrup of Ipecac now, they're never going to do it. But Bongino, get on the case. I don't see a single no. Do you see one? Shut it down. Look at the chat. Burn it. Burn it to the ground. Burn that chat to the ground. You still can't. Keep it going. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. No more bullshit. Bullshit time is over. I should have worn my cutesy time is over shirt today because it's over. We won. Freaking act like it.
Cutesy time is over.
Thank you, Jake. Can we get one more encore of that? I always you got to play that.
Is over.
Thank you, Jake. See, even Jake thinks cutesy time is over.
Cutesy time
Man,
is
you
over.
guys are really 144 chats. Is that chats per second or something like that? Holy shit, man. You guys are crazy. This is awesome. Bongino Army repping the cause every single time. He can't even read. I know. Chris, you guys did a good job with the chat. We keep trying to break it. It's not even working. Chris from Rumble, good job. Folks, we are the media now. Don't forget it. There is a downside to this, though. I want to be realistic with you guys. We are the media now. That's good. That's a good thing, right? We all get it. We are the media now. We are. It's just that the data backs it up. Live stream numbers. When I say we, I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about this conservative ecosystem. Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Benny Johnson, others, right? There's a real problem that nobody trusts our government anymore. Well, Dan, government sucks. No, I get it, folks, but You know, I'm really fascinated by the Roman Empire, like, of course, most conservatives are, but I really am. I can't get enough of the history of how the Republic fell. And, you know, when you watch what happened with Caesar when he was chasing Pompey and they left Rome abandoned, the place turned to chaos within days and weeks. People were starving to death. They couldn't get the grain out to the people. Folks, government is not an inherently evil thing if you understand Federalist 51, if men were angels, which we're not. Limits on government are a good thing because men will abuse power. Whatever, you know, long story short, what I'm getting at is we do need some form of a functioning government that can do basic things like assure the public in a national emergency. Those aren't little green men coming to invade. Nobody trusts anyone anymore, to the point where even when Mayorkas, our DHS secretary, says something even remotely sensible, even guys like me who've heard it from other people go, well, that can't be right. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Quick break. I'll show you how, again, nobody trusts government at all anymore. And folks, that's not a good thing. Believe me, it's not. That can only get bad really fast. We got to get Donald Trump in there and clean this thing up. You having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Listen, I've been there. It's not just about being tired the next day. Poor sleep takes a really awful toll on your body. Everything from your glucose management to everything. Sleep good. Go get Beam's Dream Powder. It's a science-backed nighttime blend for sleep that's actually clinically shown to improve sleep. Has you waking up refreshed and feeling good. They sent me some to try well over a year ago. It's become part of my routine. Now, as I look ahead to 2025, I want to keep the momentum going. Dream is part of my routine. It's made all the difference. Other sleep aids cause next-day grogginess, but Dream has this powerful all-natural blend, which I encourage you to look up. Reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. It helps you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. The ultimate sleep refresh for the new year is Beam's best-selling Dream Powder. Get up to 45% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino for up to 45% off. Thanks, Beam. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Everybody's got an agenda in government, and the agenda, unfortunately, is typically following the money and bullshitting people to get to the money trail. I trust my sources, though. Some of you may not like me for this segment, but that's okay. I owe you the truth. I have a separate bunch of sources who are good and decent people. They've never steered me wrong. Our batting average is 1,000. You can go back and watch the shows. We've been right on every conspiracy theory out there. I'm telling you that this China threat is very real. The threat of our own government spying on you is as bad, if not worse, and that's real too. But there are other people out there who are trying to tell you like every single thing that comes out is some psyop or whatever. Let me play this clip by Mayorkas, who I don't trust as far as I can throw. But I've heard this from other people, and you shouldn't dismiss this out of hand, that China is knee-deep embedded in our technology, our home routers, our critical infrastructure, that China is working on the ability to destroy us from the inside out. Take this with a grain of salt because it comes from Mayorkas, but I've heard this from other people too. Check this out.
China has, in fact, hacked into our telecommunications providers, some of them. And the extent of it is quite serious. And I should say that in response to that, we have taken action. We in the federal government have stood up a unified coordination group, a multi-agency response to this hack.
Again, it's Mayorkas. Anything he says, I want to instantly flush down the toilet. But do you see why I opened the segment the way I did? It's a freaking shame that we trust the government so little that even though I've heard that nearly verbatim exact same thing from conservatives I trust, because Mayorkas said it, even I'm like, is it bullshit? Folks, it's a real threat. Yes, our government spying on us is a real profound threat too. Zero doubt. Get it, got it, good. But don't be distracted about this China threat. They have been working on this for a long time. Do you have, and look this up today when you get off the show. Do you have any idea how many home routers, internet routers that were made in China have built-in security flaws? Built-in security flaws. Yeah, they're there for a reason. Just trust me on this. This is a very serious threat. Why am I bringing it up too? Because I'm going to go Republican Democrat. So you don't think I'm even making a partisan issue. Fuck Mayorkas, he's a dope. He is a dope. The guy's a liar. He's corrupt. I can't stand him. But this Mike McFaul is a pretty establishment, rhino-y type Republican too. You may not trust this guy. It's fine. I'm just telling you, I've heard this from other people too. And it's a shame we can't trust our freaking government anymore. This is a senior member of Congress on the Republican side. Here he is talking about the drones, telling you something I've heard from reliable sources. Not all of them. Not all of them. Not all of them. But many of these drones around our military installations are from China, spying on us and surveilling our domestic turf. Check this out.
Yeah, we want answers. But the response that I'm getting is that we don't know whose drones these are. I was with the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson. He said that these drones have been reported over military sites, military bases. I would not think those are friendly. I would think those are adversarial. In fact, NASA seems to be picking up more than our military is with respect to the drones. So I think Congress is gonna pursue this. I know the House Intelligence Committee is having a hearing on this. We need to identify who is behind these drones. My judgment, based on my experience, is that those that are over our military sites are adversarial and most likely are coming from the People's Republic of China.
I just had a request from the chat. Guys don't have to tip. Someone put a $5 tip in there. Please keep your money. Donate it to charity or something. I appreciate it, but I don't need it. Dan, will you do the do you feel like you're in charge? That's my favorite line from those Dark Knight series. They're not in charge. Nobody trusts these people anymore. But this is where it gets scary for me. I have an obligation to get you accurate information. And the problem I had cutting this segment, which is one of the reasons I did it, because I knew it was going to cause me a bit of a headache, but it's one of the things I need to get across, is I know what Mayorkas and McCall just said are accurate. But because they've been sources of shady information in the past, especially Mayorkas, a magnitude times 10, I'm sitting here going, I can't believe, nobody can believe what the DHS secretary's saying. That China thing is real, folks. I don't care what anybody tells you. It is real. I promise you. You don't think it's a little interesting? Again, that Obama, his first movie project was this movie, Leave the World Behind, about how this mysterious internet attack basically wipes out the internet. Everybody's turns on each other, ready to die. There's no reason to panic. Donald Trump's going to be in office in January. And I promise you, the same people who've warned me about this stuff are in his ear too. We can clean it up. But there's been a decades-long effort by China to not only surveil us, but implant really destructive technology in the United States. And we don't know when that switch is going to go off. Now, we have 2 years to fix this, but it's a 4-year term. It's not a 4-year term. Please stop telling yourself that. Yes, constitutionally, Donald Trump will be in charge for 4 years. It is 2 2-year terms. Why? Because what happens after the president's first 2 years, when every member of Congress is up for re-election, every member, and a third of the Senate, is they don't care about Donald Trump and his priorities anymore. Why? He's going to be a lame duck. He can't run again. It's just a fact. I wish it weren't, but it is. And second, they're worried about re-election themselves. So what happens in the last 2 years, if you're unfamiliar with post-midterm politics, is you get people in swingy purple districts, Republicans, who want to get reelected and look like they're standing up against the man. You can't count on them for anything. The first 2 years, you can get a lot of stuff done. You don't really have a lot of that in the first 2 years. You basically have about 18 months, because then you get some kind of midterm politics there too. But you got about 18 months. After that, forget it. We have 18 months to fix this. Here's the good news. The Democrats are still in total disarray. We need to move quick. Just quickly, I want to put this up. Politico. Are Democrats coconut pilled someone to see Kamala Harris run again? What the hell kind of headline is that? They want to see Kamala Harris run again? Are you crazy? What are you, nuts? She was the single worst presidential candidate they've run since Walter Mondale. They don't know what to do. What happens, and please watch tomorrow's show. We get into leadership and leadership vacuums with this Navy SEAL. It's amazing. What? Yeah, she was worse than Hillary. Yes, she was unquestionably worse than Hillary, folks. Guy wants to know she's worse than, yes. I don't know. Folks in the chat, do you think she was worse than Hillary? I think by far. I don't even think I think she was worse than Mondale. She was a terrible candidate. She did not act the part. She didn't talk the part. She didn't look the part. She was always cackling. She had none of the characteristics of a leader. They are in disarray. They have this leadership vacuum that's so bad that they're looking to the woman who hit 100 as the number 3 hitter. There, Kamala 23. Justin saying he wants to volunteer. Kamala Harris, reach out to Justin. I'm going to skip that Reginski thing we had next. I'm going to jump right to Tom Homan after this on the next video. But let's take a quick break. I'm going to get back to that. Because, I wish more people would pay attention to this. Tom Homan, who's coming in as the border czar, he did an interview with Tucker that's really, really good. But he hits on a point I wish, I hope, I pray more people start paying attention to it. It's the real purpose of illegal immigration. It's cheap labor. It is, yes. That's not the real purpose, however. That's the Chamber of Commerce purpose. The Democrats have a far more pernicious agenda, and Homan absolutely nails it. Stay tuned. Our last break, I'll get back to that. Hey, when it comes to protecting your family, it's not just about having a firearm. Lethal force isn't the answer for every situation. Imagine an imminent threat comes to you and your family. Instinct may drive you to reach for a firearm immediately. But what if there were a way to de-escalate a situation and defend yourself without the irreversible consequences of deadly force? Byrna's non-lethal pistol launcher, equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammo, can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No need to go DEFCON 1. We just need protection to ensure we can defuse the situation and drive the threat away. I've trained with firearms for many years. The Byrna pistol they sent me is one of the easiest to learn and use. If you don't own a firearm, or if you do own a firearm, it's still a great option to have. Made in America, legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and shipped right to your door. Visit Byrna.com/Dan now for an exclusive 10% discount for my listeners today. That's BYRNA.com/Dan. Byrna. You won't regret it. Check it out. And our last sponsor today is Omaha Steaks, the perfect gift to deliver comfort and joy to the ones you love with curated gift packages. Omaha Steaks consistently delivers unrivaled quality and taste, hand-selected by master butchers from the finest grain-finished beef, extra-aged, flash-frozen at peak flavor, and delivered right to you. And now you can deliver the perfect gift with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino at checkout. Minimum purchase and restrictions may apply. The food is delicious. The steaks are amazing. The burgers are fantastic. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to shop with expertly crafted gift packages. The steaks are perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished. It has more marbling for exceptional flavor. It's a choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. The fan favorite filet mignon has earned the coveted distinction of USDA certified tender. So give the gift of comfort and joy with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide. It's a big savings on unforgettable gifts and more. And for an extra $30 off, use promo code Bongino at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply. That's 50% off, 50 at OMAHA, omahasteaks.com. An extra $30 off with promo code Bongino at checkout. Thanks, Omaha Steaks. This is what I'm talking about. The change is coming. And we've got basically 18 months to 2 years to do it. Tom Homan's coming in as the border czar. This guy's amazing. I know Tom very well for a long time. Good man. Solid patriot. Loves his country. He's talking to Tucker about the real purpose of illegal immigration on the left. You need to pay attention to this because we will never win another presidential election again or control of the House of Representatives if you don't pay attention to the census and the role of illegal immigration in the census. Listen to the end of this. It's really important. Check this out.
What do you think the goal was?
I asked that a lot. Why would anybody open the border up? I think Joe Biden's the first president in American history who came in office and unsecured the border. I worked for, 6 presidents. Obama and Clinton took steps to secure the border because they understood you can't have, there's no way you can have strong national security. If you don't have border security, you need to know what's coming in, who's coming in, where it's coming in, why it's coming in. Joe Biden's first president came in office and unsecured the border. And people ask me all the time why. I think they see a future political benefit. I think they think these people will be future Democratic voters, number one. 2, but we don't even have to get there, right, Tucker? I mean, when Biden signed over 90 executive orders, getting rid of everything we did, he also overturned the Trump census rule, where millions of illegal aliens be counted in all these sanctuary cities, which is going to result in more seats in the House for the Dems and the reproportionate seats in the House.
Oh, my gosh. Folks, I can't talk about this enough. This is one of my top 5 issues that I wish conservative media would focus on. I heard Laura Ingraham talk about it recently. Good for her. Tom Homan, you're a friend. You're a patriot. I'm begging you to keep bringing this up. Folks, yes, cheap labor is a part of it. I totally understand that. Put aside that argument for a second. The Democrats, put up the ABC article. Look at the date on this, back in 2020. The Democrats sued because the Trump administration, they wanted to exclude illegal immigrants. They call them undocumented, which is euphemistic bullshit. Illegal immigrants from the census. There is no way we should be including illegal immigrants in our census. The reason the Democrats sued and made a huge stink over this to be able to include them is because people are moving out of liberal states like California, Illinois, Maryland, and New York. That's just a fact. They're moving to conservative states. So that has 2 effects. Number one, the House of Representatives, your congressman, you get a congressman for about every 700 residents of the state. If they can count illegals, liberal states get extra congressmen. It's simple math. Wow, that sucks, Dan. It sounds like we'll never ever get a congressional majority again on the Republican side if we keep pouring illegal folks into liberal states. Yes, that's the point. But it gets even worse. It affects another branch of government too. Folks in the chat, you already know where I'm going with this. Holman just told you this. The Electoral College that elects the president is based on the number of congressmen and senators in your state, 2 for everyone. More congressmen gives these liberal states the ability, as people move out, to bring new illegals in so they don't lose Electoral College votes either. This is a huge deal. It's why the Democrats do not want the next census, do not want illegal immigrants excluded. It's a huge deal. By the way, some breaking news just happened during the podcast. There's an article that just popped in the New York Post that 17 military bases have had unexplained encounters with drones. And again, hammering my point home from before. And right around where these drones were found or spotted was land owned by China around these bases. How the hell we're selling sensitive land near military facilities to a foreign enemy of the United States so they can surveil us is it's just disgusting. It really is. It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. What was that? Where was that? The government's drone denials. Was that later in the show? Can we bring that up now? Is that okay? Here, I was going to discuss this later in the show. But again, back to this topic. I'm sorry, but this just broke now. That's a huge story. I'm telling you, it's China. Not all of it. Not all of it. They are watching us. They are mapping us out. This is a serious thing. And nobody believes the government. Henninger, I was going to cover this later, but nobody trusts these people. The government's denials on drones are just complete bullshit. Nobody believes it. He notes the U.S. electorate's Trumpian turn isn't an outlier. A rising level of no confidence in government, what we've been talking about, has gone global. It's not just here. Germany, their government collapsed this week. Did you know that? France's did earlier last month. The vote in the UK put Labour back in power. Was it just a withdrawal of confidence in conservative governance? Is governance at all? The Trudeau government in Canada could be next. Everybody wants to get rid of people in power because these people just suck. They can't give us an honest answer on anything. You told us the border was secure. You told us inflation was transitory. You told us the drones weren't a threat, and then you told us they didn't know what they were. Why would people believe you? You don't even believe yourself. Back to this illegal immigration argument. This was one of the major seismic shifts in the election. Border security and inflation. Folks, the left doesn't get it. We have 2 years to move. They are still sitting there thinking about Kamala Harris, open borders, how to get more illegals in the country. They have not adjusted to this new reality. We have to take tactical advantage while they're sitting there in a circular firing squad. I want to play this clip for you out of New York to show you that the lunacy is not stopped. They have a position in New York. It's a very powerful position. It's largely ceremonial, but it's called the public advocate position. Everybody in New York City who gets it runs for mayor. So it's like a stepping stone position, right? So the New York City current public advocate, this is the craziest thing you're ever going to see. You think after the election, they'd take stuff like this and throw it in the garbage? They want to give an exemption for illegal immigrants to be able to take like motorized bikes, like scooters and stuff around the city, but they don't have to get a license plate, just you do. And I want you to listen to the way the guy frames this. Like, it's really racist to ask people who are in the country illegally to have to get a license plate on your vehicle while you actually have to get one. This is how crazy these people are. We got 2 years. They're still not straight. Check this out. What's that? Yeah, this guy.
You have to be clear that if passed, the legislation would have a disparate impact on low-income individuals, people of more color, and undocumented migrants. I know for some that doesn't cause concern, but the impact should. Undocumented immigrants might be reluctant to fill out applications to register their bicycles, but they might not be more reluctant to ride the bicycles. If we are...
I mean... I always think back to John Edwards, that infamous Democrat candidate for president, John Kerry's vice presidential pick, talking about two Americas. He was talking about it from a wealth inequality and power standpoint, like a liberal Democrat. There are two Americas. There are illegals that get things you don't get, and then there's American citizens who you be locked up. Folks, they haven't learned anything. It still hasn't kicked them in the balls yet that the world is changing. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to get presumptuous like the Democrats did after Obama. After Obama won re-election, the Democrats, they had this demographic destiny argument. The Colorado model, many of you guys remember that? Where the thing was young voters, minorities, and single women, the Republicans would never win another election. And then what happened? Donald Trump happened, and the Democrats had to go and throw the book out because now it looks ridiculous. I don't want to fall into that trap either. That, this is the new Republican majority moving forward. But if we can string together a series of victories in the next 2 years, folks, I'm not sure a lot of those black and Hispanic and younger voters that fell in love with the Trump agenda, where we broke down that Republican wall we couldn't forever, I'm not sure they ever go back. We may be in a really unique spot. Here's an example of what I mean. This is Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson, the worst mayor in the country by far. A total disaster. Even the Democrats hate him, right? Here he is at one of these, council meetings right there. And one of the citizens of Chicago, I always ask the question, is it bad enough yet? Well, it is for this guy. Check this out.
We are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge, you got the makeup brush right there, so you can save this people some money, for crying out loud.
You see my point? You think this guy's going back? You think this guy's going to go back in the next election and vote for Kamala Harris if they run her again? There's this awakening that happens that only goes in one direction. When liberals realize they've been lied to by shit government and their money's been stolen, they almost never go back. You see a ton of liberals who became conservative. You see very little David Brock types that pretended to be Republican and then go the other way. It's usually some money component. What's her name over at MSNBC who pretended to be a Republican. They'll take a paycheck. It doesn't matter. But you see very few people on principle who go back the other direction. It's like when your eyes are open and this awakening happens, you just simply can't go back to sleep. But, caveat emptor, buyer beware. We have got to string together a series of wins. Tying this back to the beginning of the show. That's why this CR was such a tactical misstep. And Johnson and others, Speaker Johnson, should have known better. We just won an election. People want to see results. They want to see you acting like it. We don't want more of what we just got rid of. Look at this segment, by the way. Another piece of news just broke in the last few hours. The Wall Street Journal has an amazing piece about Joe Biden, the extent the Biden White House went to cover up this guy's cognitive train wreck going on. Folks, it's bad. I warned you about it. I told you I had sources there. I never lied to you. I told you the guy, this condition was worse than you knew. We were right again. The batting average is 1,000, correct? Look at this. Biden's been in office 4 years. He does this interview just the other day. He just realized inflation's a problem for the Biden White House. Folks, I candidly, I'm not even sure if he even knows about inflation. Someone told him about it before the interview. Watch this.
One thing that we haven't been able to change yet, and it's starting to change, is that you go to a grocery store, a dozen eggs, a gallon of milk, a pound of bacon, still costs more than it did before the pandemic. That's a lot of money for people. It's taken time to change that. So there's reason for frustration, but there's gigantic change been made.
Is this guy taking a shot at comedy? Is he for real? Does he not understand? Like, did someone just wake him up this morning and shake him and say, hey, listen, inflation's been a problem? Here's the best part of this, though. Not that Biden's like yesterday's news. The guy's the president name only at this point. He's the Pino. Everybody knows that, right? I want you to watch this. This is a short clip, too, but here's Biden hilariously lecturing America and politicians about using your office to grift, to grift and make money. If this is not peak Joe Biden, I've never seen it. Joe Biden lecturing people about grifting. This is an instant classic. Check this out.
You know, I don't know how you look your constituents in the eye and know because the job they gave you an inside track to make more money.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of at a real genuine loss for words. I'm having a trouble stringing together syllables into words, into sentences. That Joe Biden, not even the king, like the Star Wars like emperor with Jedi like powers of grifting, is lecturing politicians about grifting is freaking hilarious. I told you, Joe Biden's the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. This is a guy he is a sociopath when it comes to his own personality. He has zero social IQ at all. And everything they told you, folks, was bullshit. And it's all coming around to haunt him. I saw this yesterday. I wanted to play this clip for you. Now that we know, I played it for you yesterday, the update. You remember the Aurora, Colorado apartment takeover by Tren de Aragua? And we were told by the liberal media and the Biden team and everyone that that's a conspiracy theory. There are no Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complexes. Well, it's happened. We now know they not only took it over, they tortured people. The torture was disgusting. Honestly, I'm not even going to talk about it. I heard about it on Fox and Friends. I had to turn the volume down. I was so grossed out. Now we know it's true. Our batting average is 1,000 yet again. Remember this gem from Martha Raddatz questioning J.D. Vance about gang members making out like it wasn't a big deal? Go read, if you're into really gross, crazy stuff, what these people did to these people in Aurora, Colorado. Check this out.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border?
You know what, Guy? I'm just thinking, move that CNN one ahead of Pierre, because this is perfect for this. How liberals, I know you watch my show. I get your death threats and stuff, okay? It's part of the business. I don't like it. I am abjectly against violence. But, you know, I get your nasty death threats, especially, you seem to like Facebook a lot. I always get them on Facebook. At what point do you say to yourself, again, I can't bring this up enough, like, I'm not going to change your voting behavior. I get that. You're obviously a communist and you like that stuff. But how often are you going to be lied to? Like, don't you want accurate information? I mean, when you go into a store, don't you want, remember they used to have the prices on the thing? Like, don't you want that to be the actual price? Like, you don't want to go to the register and be surprised. That said $4.99. No, it's $7.99. Yeah, but the price said $4.99. Yeah, we're surprising you at the register. Like, do you ever say to yourself, I just want to like believe what's advertised? You guys are lied to all the time by CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC. Vote for whoever you want. When is the bullshit enough? Is there ever like a bullshit red line? It happened again. Did you see this segment? I wasn't going to put this in the show, but Guy is like obsessed with this segment. He's been asking me to play for days. So CNN is another bullshit outlet. They're over in Syria. And because I hate this, by the way, I've been in the news business a while. A lot of these reporters want to be the story. They always want to look like heroes. You ever see in a hurricane, they go in and they sit in the water and, and they're like up to the knees, like, oh my gosh. And the guy behind them's like running on the street, like doing a jog. This is one of those segments. They walk into this Syrian prison and they want to be heroes. So like, look at this. We rescued this prisoner. It turns out the prisoner in this case is a notorious Assad torturer who was the one actually torturing these people. And they're like, do you need water? Do you need water? This would have been one of our top 10 worst clips of the year if we hadn't already done the show. Check this out.
If there is something under the blanket.
Oh, it moved. Is there someone there? I thought I saw it move. Is someone there? Or is it just a blanket? I don't know.
I think it's someone. Hello?
Okay, it's just moving.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian.
It's okay. It's okay.
He tells the fighter he's from the city of Homs and has been in the cell for 3 months.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
He clutches my arm tightly with both hands.
Okay. Does anyone have any water? Water. My. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Michael brought up a great point. He's like an accountant, so he thinks he's like a spreadsheet guy like me. He's like, no one noticed from CNN, like this guy's got a perfectly coiffed haircut. He's actually like a little fat. Like, what is he eating? What did he get? McDonald's in there or something? What? Michael is a hair expert. Michael spends an inordinate amount of time, and he's got like the best hair ever. I have none of that. I don't have to worry about it. I just shave that sucker off. But no, that was a great point, though, Michael. I didn't even think of that. Nobody from CNN, like you were an investigative reporter, right? Thought it was odd that, number one, the guy doesn't want to come out, obviously, right? He's sitting there you think a prisoner be, oh my gosh, thank you for opening the door. He doesn't want to come out. He's clearly hiding, and he looks like he's like surrendering or something like that. And you're like, wow. This guy looks awfully clean, smells good, he's got a haircut. He's kind of fat for a guy who's supposed to have been in prison for 3 to 6 months. You didn't notice this was the torturer himself? Okay, you may not have known, but you didn't sense something was up with that? She's like, hey, you want water? Look at you. What are you? I am so sick of these fake news losers. We are the media now. We are the media now. Someone wanted the Bane? Do you feel like you're in charge? And I love that he puts the back of his hand on his shoulder because you're not. We're in charge now. We're the news. This is where it's at. I got one more clip for you. It's pretty good. You guys see this Canadian race that's going on right now? Justin Trudeau is finished. He's done. Canada's had enough of his bullshit. The guy's a straight-up commie. There were some rumors he may resign. His finance minister, who's a total disaster, was a COVID train wreck, resign. But Pierre Poilievre is running against him. He is going to be running Canada very shortly. And the media people trying to set him up. They're trying to set up a little fight between Canada and Donald Trump. Trump is not fighting Canadians. He's fighting Justin Trudeau. He's doing something very smart. He's trying to humiliate Trudeau, who's humiliated for liberty and freedom and Canadians for a long time, to make sure he gets out of office. Of course, the media, which is always 10 steps behind, doesn't catch that. So they try to catch Poilievre to make it like a Trump versus Canada thing. This guy is just so good at beating the media at their own bullshit game. They ask him about the tariffs, trying to set up like a tariff war because he's going to be the incoming government soon. Watch this answer. This is really good. Check this out.
Look, we sell more than twice as much to the Americans than we sell to the rest of the world combined. The United States is the biggest economic and military superpower the world has ever seen. They happen to be our neighbor and our friends. They have a president with a strong and fresh mandate. And he's someone who is a very powerful negotiator who can spot weakness from a mile away. And what does he see when he looks at Justin Trudeau and the NDP Liberal government? He sees a ridiculous clown show of chaos, and that screams weakness. President Trump has made it clear that he wants our jobs and our money. Justin Trudeau's chaotic clown show will only help him get it.
Man, this guy's good at that. That is a skill, man, and this guy's got it. They were trying to set him up. We don't need that. We need what he's doing is going after Trudeau. He's not going after Canada. The media tried to set him up, and it didn't work. Folks, tomorrow, please don't miss it. I've got a SEAL team operator on. You may have seen him on the Rogan Show. He's got his own podcast, Andy Stumpf. It is one of the most fascinating interviews. We don't do a lot of them, but I promise you, Bongino Army, it is absolutely worth your time. Air like a normal show. We got some other stuff there, so don't worry about it. 11 a.m. tomorrow.